Most founders overbuild their first product, and that is the fastest way to burn cash and waste months of effort. Instead, you need to strip your idea down to the simplest of forms, test it with real customers, and iterate fast. Essentially, building your minimal viable product. And in this video, I will show you how to do exactly that. One of the biggest mistakes I see founders making is thinking that they need to have the perfect product before they can launch. And while you want to make sure you have a great product and service and experience for your customers, it is not in your best interest to actually create this product in silo, dump hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars into it without even testing and validating it in the market. The truth is, perfection is the enemy of progress. We've all heard this. And your goal in the early stages isn't to create something flawless. It is to test, learn, and validate your products with your customers in real time. However, that doesn't mean that the execution needs to be messy or that you're going to have a bad experience and then have people be turned off by your brand. There's ways you can do this intentionally, strategically, and seamlessly. The reason I'm saying all of this is because I have experienced firsthand what it looks like to balance and toe the line between launching an MVP and also making sure it's a good customer experience and also making sure you're not just burning cash and wasting time. When I was working in a new consumer healthcare division inside this multi-billion-dollar telecommunications company, I saw firsthand what it looked like to launch MVP or minimum viable products to the market so that we could test, we could learn, and we could iterate ASAP. Don't get me wrong, even though we launched minimal viable products, it didn't mean that they were shitty or crappy products, especially because, as I mentioned, we were in the consumer healthcare space. If these products don't work, or if someone has an injury or someone has a bad experience, there's a lot at risk. It's not just about creating a sweater and maybe the sweater falls apart. Someone's life could potentially be at risk if this wasn't a well-done product. So like I mentioned, we had to toe the line between making sure we weren't spending too many resources into this from a manpower perspective and also from a budget perspective, but also it wasn't just something that was going to fall apart and have a negative impact on someone's life. Even though we were in such a high stakes environment, the MVP model still so important because at the time, I remember thinking, ooh, I don't know if this is a good idea. Behind the scenes, it feels like these products aren't super ready. There's still a lot of things we could be doing. There's a lot of features we wanted to add. There's a lot of support we wanted to have. But given, again, the timeline and also the fact that we wanted to not blow a lot of shareholder budget on this, we wanted to make sure we could test and learn. The way we did that was making sure that, of course, the brand wouldn't be tarnished. Customers would still have a good experience. If something went wrong, no one would get severely injured or harmed in any way. So we made sure those table stakes were down. From there, we launched it. And it was really interesting seeing the results because a lot of our customers would start to request things that we didn't even think about. Or we also noticed that customers would develop new use cases for our products that we also didn't think about, which would then allow us to brainstorm and have new ideas. So it just goes to show you that you can assume and you can craft something in your mad scientist lab all by yourself, but until you put it out into the market, it won't form and it won't take all the different things that it could take. You could theoretically assume and hypothesize how people are going to use your product or service and how you can benefit them and help them. But until it's actually applied in real life, you just don't know. So it is really important you don't over perfect something before you launch it. And I know as a founder, I know as someone that is really deeply entrenched in your business and you really care about it and it's likely your baby, I know releasing something that's not perfect into the world sounds insane. But just hear me out. It's such a disservice to you and to your business and also to your budget if you perfect in private and you then release something only for people to be like, oh, actually, I don't like this. I feel like this is not necessary. I actually want this instead. Take it from me. It's really important you build that MVP and then you release it, you iterate, and you execute quickly. As you can likely tell, you want to launch an MVP, but how you do that is as follows. The first thing you'll want to be making is some sort of prototype. A prototype is a very simple, low-cost way to put your idea together. If you were creating an app, it could literally just be Google Slides or a wireframe on Figma or something, overviewing what that could look like. You are not going to spend any budget building out this app quite yet. Or if you are starting a matcha brand, you are not going out and sourcing matcha quite yet, but perhaps you're putting together a landing page overviewing what that could look like and seeing if people sign up to your waitlist. There are different ways you can prototype it, but the prototype is the first step. From there, you can start to show your ideal customers either during those interviews, or you could even just show them separately as well to get that feedback. Once you think you're onto something, you then go and make your MVP. The key in the MVP phase, though, is to have a really good think around what is your must-haves, what are you actually wanting to test, and then what are nice-to-haves. Be very strict and boundaried around what's a must-have and what's a nice-to-have. This is really important because, like I mentioned, we can easily get into the space where we are trying to make all the nice-to-haves must-haves, and that's just not where you want to be. You want to make sure you're releasing the best MVP so that you can test if even these nice-to-haves are things that your ideal customers care about. You can leverage the Notion workbook down below to help you figure out what the prototype is going to look like, help you figure out your MVP and what is going to be a must-have for your MVP. So it's still a good experience. It's still positively reflective of the brand, and you are testing certain things and you know what you want to keep an eye on and what you're testing. For your MVP too, you don't need to release it and launch it to the masses right away. When I was in that consumer health role, we would launch it to strategic markets in a very siloed environment so that we could get the learnings, we could test, and we could iterate. If you have a company already, and let's say you're launching a new product, you don't need to launch it to your entire customer base. You could launch it to maybe your most loyal customers and tell them that they're the first people to know about this, or the first testers, first users of it. Bring them behind the scenes and have them champion this product for you. But if you're starting from scratch, you could literally identify the people from your interviews and just ask them, hey, if I paid you for your time, if I gave you an Amazon gift card, or if I gave you a Starbucks gift card, would you be down to test this product for me and give me feedback? So you can also do control tests. You don't have to launch your MVP to the masses as well. So just think about what that could look like for you. With all that being said, don't try to perfect your product from the get-go because you are going to have wasted work and wasted time. Instead, figure out what the prototype looks like, finalize that up, see if there's even demand for this before you go, and sink a little bit of time and budget into creating your minimal viable product. From there, you can figure out what you want to do to test it out. Do you want to launch it to the masses? Do you want to launch it to a subset of customers? Do you want to launch it to friendlies first, get their feedback, and then iterate? See what that plan is going to be for you. And again, leverage the Notion workbook down below to help you plan all of this out. Once you figured it out, we are going to be talking about monetization next.